Today's show is sponsored by libertarian conspiratorial fantasy author Jack Casey. Whether you're looking for a 3-book fantasy sci-fi epic of love, death, and dystopian civil war like the Royal Green series, or just looking for a quick, dark, comedic cultural commentary tale about a transsexual slayer of COVID regime vampires, like his latest book, WVW, Jack Casey Books will keep you adequately entertained and pondering the universe to your weird little heart's content. He's the Ayn Rand meets Stephanie Meyer meets somebody who actually writes entertaining books with his own unique little downer-esque flair. Find out more about Jack Casey Books at the aptly named jackcaseybooks.com. Once again, that is jackcaseybooks.com. Have you guys heard of Matt Miller? He's not only the guy who paints those amazing portraits of all your favorite heroes in the liberty movement and in pop culture, but he's also now an official sponsor of this show. From Murray Rothbard to Ron Paul, Dr. Robert Malone to Darth Maul, Matt Miller's Liberty Portraits has something fun for everyone to spice up your home or office and showcase your heroes. Go check out his incredible work at libertyportraits.com. Grab a print to impress your friends, hire him for a custom portrait, or bring him out to a festival to capture your event in real life in a beautiful and unique way. To find out more, just head over to libertyportraits.com. Once again, that is libertyportraits.com.
Picture this. Innocent people in the Middle East. They're having dinner. A bomb is dropped on their house, and they're all killed. What's the problem with this? It's being done by white men. I am Jeremy Kaufman, the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton and candidate for United States Senate. It is time to diversify the murderous military-industrial complex. We need to make the nukes gay. And that's why I'm running for office. Like my fellow Democrats and Republicans, I will support every war. I will support stealing billions of dollars from Americans to kill innocent people, but we are gonna make it so gay. It will go down in the history books. We will say never have so many genders and so many races killed innocent people. Let's bomb Yemen, but let's make sure a rainbow of skin colors are dropping those bombs. These are gonna be the gayest transit murders the United States has ever performed. That's what I stand for as the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton, and that's what I'll do once elected to the United States Senate. I'm Jeremy Kaufman, and I'm gay for this message. I'm serious.
Shout out Dan Smotz. Dan Smotz in the house? Yeah. Or he leave too. There he is, Dan. Dan looks like if Tim Burton drew a libertarian. That's what Dan Smotz looks like.
Oh, wow.
Dan Smotz.
Just smacked the shit out of me. Joe.
Keep Tim Burton's name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
All right. Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back to the nerdiest and least comfortable place on the web where we've got all these, the most niche jokes that nobody gets except us, but we get it because we're all in this cult together. We've got a lot on the docket today. We've got a lot of things to talk about, and we've got a lot of very special guests that we're going to talk to about them. Busy weekend, and we're going to cover it all in just a moment. Let's get into those comments. Go share the love, go share the wealth. Also, let's go and get this out of the way. This show is brought to you by you guys in the Downers Club. We got a few new ones. We're doing this early because we're in a hurry here. People like Zach Varnell, Autumn, Danielle, Human Cognito something, Pete R, Gid Kid something, Magoo, Gigi, Lisa, Keith, Joanne, Dickie, Representation, Brian, Jack, Javari. You notice how all the people that are in those ads at the beginning, we've got a new one that's coming up probably by next week, but all those people that are in the ads are also in the Downers Club because that's the only way you can support, or That is the only way you can become a sponsor of this show, is if you become a part of the cult and the family as well, because I'm not like having those Sprint commercials or Liberty Mutual commercials on my show. Screw that. No, you got to be part of the family if you want to promote on my show. And if you do that, you'll not only get that, you can get that for like the $50, $100 level, whatever. But for the $1 level, you can get the after party live stream. You can go join that with us right after here. We're going to probably be roasting the shit out of my stupid speech. You can get that for $1, join the live streams in the after party, or for $5 you can get all the after party stuff, all the stuff. More weird, more raw, more offensive, weekly content, bonus episodes of the show. If you like it, if you support it, go support it at patreon.com/The System Is Down. All right, let's get things rolling. Let's get this intro rolling, because we can't do without the intro. But go out, spread the love, let people know that the party's about to get started here. But let's have some fun. Let's be some dicks, and let's get weird.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he really means that.
I don't know what I said.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves or possessing weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth. I remember that with that smoke. We are still here.
We have to say yes to social justice.
No. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
So many things to talk about. What a weekend. All the things happened. Like, Joe Biden was like threatening regime change with Russia. Like, all these pushing for hardcore nuclear holocaust here, but we're going to talk about only the really important topics here in the main show, like Will Smith slapping Chris Rock and things that we did for fun, because whatever, they don't deserve our attention. Will Smith does, just because it's hilarious. But I am, of course, joined, as I mentioned, by two very special guests, and they joined me at the Libertarian Delaware Convention this weekend, and they are here somewhere, if I find the right button. They are Dave Casey, formerly of Twitter, and formerly of Twitter, and formerly of Twitter, Dave Casey, and the one and only Adam Nutter. How are you guys doing?
Yo,
What's up, man? Feeling
What's
good.
up?
Thanks for being here. Thanks
Dave,
for the invite.
Dave, as the regular guy that I always have to snag because you're so much fun, I was, of course, going to have you on to recap Delaware. Now, Adam, on the other hand, he showed up for like a minute or two of the Libertarian Party Convention of Delaware.
Diva style.
I mean, I didn't really bring him on for the Delaware talk. I mostly brought him on because he's got like allegedly like a comedy career, so that might come into play with the Will Smith stuff, and allegedly a fighting career, so that might also come into play. But yeah, we'll get it.
Where do
we'll
they
get
intersect?
Yeah.
So legend has it that I do comedy. I used to fight back in the day. Yeah.
Yes, mostly black people when you were a cop. But anyway, we are going to talk about.
What else was I supposed to do?
Don't got a lot going on. I mean, small towns. But anyway, we're going to talk about some news here in a minute, but we're going to dig deeper into the Delaware stuff a little bit later on, after the news, after all that stuff. But give kind of like your brief like sentence or two of how you think the convention went this weekend. Dave, we'll start with you.
Oh, man, I would say complete and total success. Yeah, when we first started planning this, it was because the LNC kind of like made us do it, have this like convention competition with the opposite faction there based on who could get the most people there and prove to the LNC who was the right and true Libertarian Party of Delaware. And that didn't turn out to be the way at all, man. It was obviously we handled our business. We fixed some bylaws that were, let's just say, shaky ground for the past decade or so. So this
clearly
is
a few things were a little shaky in those bylaws.
A little shaky there, shaky. Yeah, allowed for some things to maybe transpire. Who knows? But this is going to be good for like every future Delawarean libertarian.
Yeah.
From here on out. So yeah, we righted some wrongs. We got some justice for some of these people. In fact, all of the people who were involved in the coup.
Yeah.
And the sentences there, I'll put that in quotes, whatever. But some were harsher than others. Some people were expelled for life. Some people got to just take a couple years off.
Just chill, bro. Just take a seat.
Why don't you just think about what you did for a little bit? Just fucking chill.
Go sit in the corner. Give it a couple years. When you've grown up a little bit, maybe we'll talk.
Yo, I think that's fair. Come back in 5 years and talk to us. And then you still can't run for office for 5 more, but still.
For anybody who's not familiar, who hasn't been following this drama, I was out there because of the whole, the Will McVeigh coup thing that we covered like a few months back, end of last year. And so, it was awesome to meet you guys. It was awesome to like hang out with the people who rose up to the challenge. And Dave's not in that screen. Oh, darn.
Under his blackness.
While I figure this out, Adam, why don't you go ahead and give your brief recap of the 15 minutes that you were at the convention?
Okay, first of all, I wasn't diva-ing it. Dave, you're fucking... Because I had my opener with me, Blaze, and I was going to be like, hey, Blaze, who isn't a libertarian, do you want to come to a convention and sit through another one for 6 hours and then do comedy? Oh, no? Okay, yeah, me either. So, right. No. So I was like, no, we'll just, because it's only an hour and a half from us. So I was like, no, we'll just drive down like a little before the show and hang out.
So you're like, yeah, I'll show up. I'll eat some food, tell some jokes, and then I'm out.
Also, I just had 5 pieces of bread and 2 pieces of pound cake.
That is true. Food, so I can confirm that, yeah.
Suck it. But yeah, no. So we drove down. It was fun though. It was really good time. The compared to the Pennsylvania one, the Pennsylvania convention was terrible. Like it was awful.
Awful because it was so big and so entertaining with all the drama and bullshit.
Isn't always better.
I mean, that's the type of stuff I look for in a convention is the drama and bullshit.
Not just that, but they set us up for failure in that fucking room and no one was ready for that. I mean, like when I opened up for Dave and Tom, that was great. It was in a theater, wherever it was there to pay attention. But the other show was like a fucking disaster.
Did you perform at the LPPA? Did they have you perform? Was that like after all this stuff went down there? They're like all this drama and controversy, and they're like, all right, jokes. Take it away.
No, it was Friday night, right? You went on.
You did Friday night
before all the shit. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was Friday, but it was fucking dumb as fuck, dude. They double booked me a half hour from each other.
Wow.
So like it's set like at 6:30 or something like that. It was supposed to be me, and then I had Neil and Blaze opening with me, and then they're like, all right, well, after that, just go to the theater right around the corner and then go open up for Dave Smith and Tom Wood's speech thing. I was like, oh, but it's going to be half the same audience.
Right.
So
that sucks.
No.
That sucks, but so you didn't open for Robbie and Dave?
No, it was Dave and Tom. They were just doing speeches.
Oh, okay.
No, I did. So what I did was for the LP. So for the first comedy show, again, nightmare because it was like Joe Jorgensen was doing a speech before us and she ran late. And they was doing like I said at the Delaware thing. She was doing like a fucking Q&A right next to us.
Is she still talking about One Giant Switzerland, even though they're not neutral anymore?
Dude, I don't fucking know. I was furious that she was there talking still. I was like, go outside and do this.
That made for a great opener though, bro. That was your audience to deliver that joke in Delaware.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. The only room it was the only audience I could use that on.
Right. Niche crowd, where it's at.
But yeah, so like that sucked, and like all the lights were on. There's like no stage, like no one was paying attention. It was like a fucking nightmare. But this was like an actual comedy show, so it was awesome. Yeah. It was a really good time, and we had a good time.
Yep, and we will dig more into that shortly, but we do have to talk about some news here. So pause that. If you're only here for the nerdy Delaware shit, then I mean, good on you. You're the special type, but yeah, we're gonna talk about some other stuff for a bit here. We do always have to start out with I had to condense the news way down this week because I knew we wanted to talk for quite a while about the Will Smith stuff and the Delaware stuff. But I do have one other thing, and I do have a bunch of stuff set up for it'll either be in the after party or another episode this week. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we do have to open the news, as always, with the good news and the most important things. Set it off on a light, cheery tone. And so I wanted to ask you guys if you had heard about the latest development in vaccine technology. Have you?
Nanobots.
Do they
I
boof
mean,
it now?
might as well be. No, it's scientists are developing controversial contagious vaccines that could jump from vaccinated to unvaccinated, but experts warn of potential dangers. So, we're not going to force you to take our vaccine. We'll never force you. We'll just straight up force you, like make it a contagious thing. Did you guys hear anything about this?
That's pretty psychotically Dr. Evil-y.
Right? Yeah, it sounds
That's
like
real mad science, yeah.
Sounds like so many movies.
It reminds me of the GMO, like the Monsanto seeds that, like, you know, you could have a GMO crop, you know, over on this side of town, and then the Amish farm on the other side of town, and like those shits will float over,
right,
infect their shit, and then they come and they'll claim to own it. But yeah, you can't have, man. I just always assumed that this is what the original vaccines were doing, but yeah, this is not surprising.
Right. Yeah. I'm not convinced that it wasn't happening before. But also, I have a very close loved one I just found out earlier today. Not like super close to me, but like very close in relation, who he's an elderly gentleman, and he got the vaccine per his doctor's almost insisting, and he's got he had a bunch of leg pain for the last couple months, and he went in and got it checked out, and just full of blood clots, all sorts of blood clots. Surely there's no relation there or whatever, but yeah, that's a lot of fun. Also on this, like, this just reminds me of like so many movies or whatever, and we do have actually a clip of like some of the research that they're doing, some of the testing and development on this contagious vaccine, and here it is. If it plays. Why would it play the first? Don't ruin the fucking joke, guys. Come on. God. Come on, internet. Now it lost my place. Super professional over here. All right. This is super legit footage, and shut up. Here you go.
Respiration slowing. Pulse 190. Core temperature 105. 104 and decreasing. We may have something here.
So yeah, that's probably what we have to look forward to. Do you guys have any concerns about a contagious vaccine that the FDA is currently working on?
Now I do.
Yes.
I mean, were these people like predicting? Were they prophetic, or were they like predictive programming type shit when they're making all these movies about exactly the type of shit that we go through on a regular basis here in 2022?
So the libertarian conspiracy guy in me wants to be like everything's a fucking plan and agenda, but then if you just look at like stories as a different whole, just entertainment. Do you ever hear like the 36 points of like dramatic points, something like that? I think it's what it's called. I could be wrong. Essentially, this dude in the 50s, this philosopher or whatever the fuck, looked up like thousands and thousands of years of like literature and plays and like movies, whatever the fuck, up until his timeline, and he discovered there's only 36 possible outcomes you could do for any movie or show or play ever. Really? Like ever. There would always be like, it will come back to one of these points, like know, like revenge, like murder of a kin, like mass chaos, whatever the fuck. There's like 36 of them. So no, because everything's been done before. Like that's the thing. So it's like everything's literally been done. Like nothing is new.
Right.
It's just like new hats. Like so, like again, like
it's like Tom Petty claiming that Sam Smith stole his song because it had like 3 notes the same. It's like, bro, there's only so many. There's only so many notes, let alone, yeah.
So nothing's new. So like, I Am Legend was a book before that, right? That was just a new hat on a plot that already was done in Greek times before, like a virus or a plague takes over. Well, that's been done, dude. So it's just,
I hear you. So do you get? Oh, so that was actually a clip from I Am Legend, and this is my very sloppy transition. We're talking about Will Smith now. Do you have any? There's some with this whole Will Smith thing. You guys, I'm assuming you're familiar with the Will Smith thing, right?
So something happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won an Oscar. He won an
Wow, that's so
Oscar.
cool.
About time.
Damn
Second one, I
straight.
think.
No, I think it's his first. They said.
Is it? Did anyone win for Ali?
I don't know. I keep
yeah,
hearing
you might be
people say
right.
it's his first though, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right at all,
gonna
because
look it
he's
up.
been like hailed as like the most highly paid and best actor of all time or whatever for decades.
Hey, someone in the chat, look up if he won for Ali or Pursuit of Happiness.
Hey, someone in the chat, it's my show, and I agree. All right. So, to anybody, I'm sure everybody is familiar with the story from over the weekend. This is slightly less important than the Libertarian Party of Delaware stuff bullshit that we're going to talk about, but I did feel like it has to be talked about because, I mean, at the very least, there's conspiracy theories around this. There's crazy shit around this. At the very least, this is like, I mean, surface level insanity, like absolute crazy that this happened. And it could be a distraction or whatever, but we're going to go there. We're going to be distracted by it for a minute. This is Will Smith, like about 15 minutes before he won his Oscar. Here we go.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Laughing. Oh, she's not laughing.
Rolly eye.
Oh, he's laughing.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
That was the greatest night in the history of television.
Dude, can I tell you, as a comic, what that was right there? He went, "Oh, I could fucking absolutely destroy you." But I'm
There's
not
so
gonna.
many things that he did not say there.
Yeah,
Will
yeah.
Smith is a paid actor who reads off scripts. Chris Rock is a make-up jokes on the spot comedian, and he could have, like, shit could have went down. I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't. But what do you get? Let's start off with, do you guys buy this? Do you guys think, like, everybody's saying, oh, the Oscars were tanking and conspiracy theory, this is just a big hoax to get everybody to pay attention to the Oscars, which in their defense, none of us watched the Oscars, and every one of us are talking about the Oscars now. So what do you guys think?
Dude,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so-
That could be a thing. Hold on, really quick. I just want to say that I think it's funny that everybody, like normies, are like, oh man, false flag.
Right.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Like that's just in the lexicon that the Oscars might have had a false flag attack. So I'm into that.
I will start
I am
out by
of the-
saying I don't think it is, but go ahead.
I don't think it is either. I was dying to get your opinion, but I was
Yeah.
listening to Monica and Brad talk about it. They both swear that this is a total setup job. But if it is, can you imagine the implications that like the highest echelon of Hollywood?
We live in
like Chris
Epstein
Rock-
Island world, Dave. Yes, I can
Right,
imagine the implications, and they would not shock me
Right,
at
I
all.
Yeah, so Chris Rock and Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and all these people are participating in this thing. I mean, that would be amazing.
Right.
And it could definitely have happened that way. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested. This is red meat.
Right
but
on.
It's
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, it's so again, right? Like our conspiracy hats automatically start to fucking go up and flare. We're like,
Right.
this is fake because Oscars suck and they don't have rating. But then I'm like, all right, hold on, let me think. First of all, that slap is real, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
like Chris Rock didn't
Real
fake getting
gay.
slapped. He got fucking hit. Yeah, for sure. Like I've been around a bunch of people getting hit. He got hit. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he for sure got hit.
But he
and
did
was
get hit
actually super real.
open-handed, right? And he got hit with probably a lapel mic.
And
right
it was
about
kind
there.
of a
you heard
finger
it.
slap. It was kind of like tips.
Right, which is
Oh,
weird.
I'm not
I
saying
mean,
connecting
how
tips.
I'm not saying he connected well. I'm just saying he
Right.
definitely hit him for sure. Like
Right.
that was definitely
Yeah.
a real hit.
Yeah.
And then you think like, okay, let's like extrapolate out a little more about this, right? It's what I like to do as a comic when you're thinking of jokes, like just keep going further and further out. Like so now you go like, okay, well, think Will Smith got cucked nationally, publicly dragged for a year and a half by essentially his wife was like, yo, I fucked some 19-year-old. It's our son's friend.
Right.
I'm going to talk about it to you publicly on YouTube. Then everyone's going to think you're a fucking bitch after this for a year and a half. So he go now for a year.
Yeah,
and
the
a half,
guy
he's
at
been
the top.
fucking-
The guy at the top is
Right.
getting this
Yes.
this behind the scenes.
Will Smith Right, this fucking alpha male for actor, everybody loves him. Now getting cucked by everybody, every asshole on Twitter with the fucking anime avatar is like, fucking, you fucking bitch, you know, like shitting on Will Smith, and then it's sitting with him. He's pushing it down, and then here come the fucking Oscars. Shut up, Shannon. And then here come the fucking Oscars. Right? Where Chris Rock, he's like, G.I. Jane, your fucking hair stinks. He's not even saying that. He's like, G.I. Jane joke. And he's like, this is my moment where I'm taking all my anger out on you. Right. And it was the wrong moment.
This is some Kardashian level masculine sacrifice, fucking succubus shit.
Yeah.
Demonic shit. Just like, look what we'll do to this guy. Who, Will Smith? You know about his history in Hollywood, man? I don't know.
I heard some rumors.
Starting from the very beginning. Quincy Jones, make you famous.
Yeah.
Look at his first movie was him playing a gay dude, which is, not saying that's inherently wrong or anything, but it's like,
for the record,
let's watch some Chappelle shit. Watch what they want you to do
tomorrow to be famous.
He sucked a dick yesterday to be famous, and it just didn't work.
It's just the same guy keeps promising
It'll work
me,
one
and
of these
I
days,
swear to God, one of these years will pay off.
Hang in there, bud. Right. Hang in there, just a few more.
Eventually get it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, there's a lot on both sides of this for me. Like, I've listened to some conspiracy guys talk about this, like, oh, it's a humiliation ritual and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, but does that really make sense for like the two of the most famous guys in the world to need a humiliation ritual for what? To be more famous than Will Smith already was? Like, and if that's the case, is Will Smith's entire like last 2 years a humiliation ritual? Because if so, it's working. I think more so the dude's just humiliated and feels like an idiot, and he's like,
well, that show that his wife dragged him on television, I think it looked like it without his knowledge, and was just like unapologetic about having an affair with like your son's friend.
They denied having an open relationship for a long time. And then she's like, I had an affair, which means we're now in an open relationship, but it seems like it only goes one way.
Right. Right. She's controlling this. And I think if anything, if they are using this, they could use this to like interject this into popular culture, that this is kind of like a way to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Desiree in the chat says, I think Will was trying to make up for the fact that he was laughing. It could be like either way, he looks over and sees she's not laughing, and he's like, oh, mommy's mad, so I got to go take care of business just to make up for this. Otherwise, I'm going to have to deal with it later. And maybe if I go hit that guy and assault a man on stage, on like an international television show, maybe she'll let me watch tonight.
Yeah, I said this on my podcast.
Why don't she love me, Uncle Phil?
Yeah, see, still makes me cry. There was that I was saying this on my show, but like even though Chris Rock was totally innocent in all this and like he didn't do anything wrong, he still looks like a giant pussy in my eyes. Like for not like 100%. Yeah. Like you gotta hit that dude
because he didn't clap back, or because he didn't put up his hands. He didn't. Which in his defense.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
No, not that. Because like I was saying, this is exactly what I was saying. I was like, again, I am a previous MMA guy, trained for fucking 10 years and shit. You know, you can fight for a little bit, and like so, like, but like Chris Rock's hands are behind his back, first of all, right? So he's standing there like this. He's 0%. Thinking like I'm about to get fucking slapped by Will Smith at the Oscars right now. So that's not even on any part of his fucking mind. So he probably got caught. I'm not even saying like he should have fucking dodged it. I'm saying as soon as you get hit though, either has to fucking be like, no, I'm fighting you right now, or just roast it, like just completely unload and be like, you're a fucking cuck simp. So you can't just be like, and every like,
yo, he apologized to Will Smith, bro.
Well,
yeah, he got Dick Cheney'd. Fucking. The guy, Dick Cheney shot. He's like, I'm sorry you shot me.
Right. It kind of in Chris Rock's defense. I'll defend him just a little bit. I agree with you for the most part, but it's kind of like, you're there in front of the entire world, and it's like you just got like the sense knocked out of you. You didn't see it coming at all, and you're just like, what the hell was that? How do I respond? Like, kind of got to keep moving, kind of got to announce another award here. Do I want to disrespect? Do I want to like completely derail this whole thing and make a bigger situation?
It's not like you're alone in the streets. He could have just got one good one in, or tried to tackle him to the ground, and then it would have got broken up. He would have been fine. He should have gotten one good one in.
Right.
Dude, I said
It's
that
true.
exact
It's
same
true.
thing. I said the exact same thing on my podcast. I said even if he didn't land a shot back, if he attempted to, it probably got broken up, and then at least we all would have been like, well, he tried.
Right. Do you mean shot
You know what I'm
like a joke or a blow?
Like, what would you say?
When you say he should have shot back, do you mean like he should have swung back at him, or he should have like, told a joke after Will went back down?
No, I'm saying
Either
like,
or.
If he was to physically go after him, I'm sure it would have got stopped right away.
Right.
Like before, but at least we all would have been like, Chris Rock at least try to get
Right. Yeah, Will Smith is like a foot taller than him too, though. So
I don't give a fuck. You can't get slapped.
But that makes Will
TV.
Smith look like a fucking asshole. Like that's
Yeah.
not even cool,
Oh,
bro.
100%.
Think your wife's gonna be impressed? Come on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time,
like-
if Chris Rock did anything back, he would like the internet is already like, oh, he shouldn't have made that joke. Jada doesn't deserve this. Whatever. Like they're turning it on Chris Rock, even though he just did his fucking job and told a joke that was roasting people in the audience, which was his purpose of being there, probably pre-scripted and everything. Like if he even told a joke back, that would be ×2 now. Like the people dogpiling on him for that. If he had swung back, they would have been like, oh, that's unacceptable. He hit a black man. Like they would have spun it in some way, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you gotta do something. You can't just sit there and take it. It's crazy. You're still a grown man. You gotta do something.
Yeah, it's true.
You gotta. I don't know. It's just my opinion.
No, you're probably right. But we do have to watch Will Smith's like I said, 10, 15 minutes later, Will Smith got up and gave his acceptance speech because he won this award. And did you guys watch the speech? Did you see the whole thing?
Nah, I just think
not the whole thing.
I just think the whole thing is such a fucking hypocritical joke. Like,
Yes.
I couldn't bring myself to it, but I'll watch it now.
Knowing that it's a hypocritical joke makes this all the more hilarious as he's crying his eyes out for how much he was called to love and protect people. Like 10 minutes after you just smack the shit out of somebody on international television.
I wish we would have talked about like how Russia is aggressive against Ukraine or something like that.
Right. They're always just going up and slapping people. All right, let's play a bit of this. We can talk over it because it really doesn't matter at all. But I do want to point out a couple things here.
Oh, man.
This is awkward. First off, do you think he planned on winning when he threw the hit? Like, was he like, yeah, I'm definitely not winning this anyway? Nobody watched that stupid tennis movie.
I think all of his simp energy was just at the tip of his fucking brain, and he just fucking went off.
Also, I was wondering, do we even know that Chris Rock knew that she has allegedly alopecia, which none of us knew was a thing up until yesterday?
Also,
do we know that Chris Rock wasn't just like, hey, I noticed you're bald. Let's make a joke about you being bald because you shaved your head. Obviously, that's a choice. And there's even debate over whether or not she actually has alopecia because she just came out and started talking about it 2 months ago, shaved her head, and her hair isn't that patchy like it normally would be with this disease. Also, Pfizer has a new drug for alopecia.
Yeah.
And guess who sponsored the Oscars?
Right. Pfizer, right. But like, here's the thing about, and fuck all, of course, all that's obvious when you look into it. But like, that aside, it's like, hey, alopecia trick aside, I don't give a fuck. Like what he made fun of, like it doesn't matter. Like
he's not there to be nice. That's not even the point.
Like the fact, like all these dumb blue checks on Twitter and all these fucking, especially the younger blue checks on Twitter, and they're all like, like, oh, that's what he got what he deserved for making fun of an illness. I'm like, dude, I joked about cancer and like suicide on stage. Like nothing's off limits. Like it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just these fucking, everybody likes to pick their fucking thing.
Fucking Ricky Gervais called them all pedophiles. Like, you think that's not a sensitive topic for these people? Like, a little bit more than bald Jada? And he compared her to, like, his offense was, I compared her to a bald badass bitch in a movie. Like, oh, that's offensive because that woman is also bald. How dare you? Like, it's such a nothing joke.
I don't know who it was, but some woman on the red carpet later was asked, like, oh, what'd you think about that? She was like, when I was young, if you called somebody G.I. Jane, that meant you were calling them a lesbian.
She is. I'm pretty sure she is. Bye, at least.
So,
pretty sure she's been open about that. Anyway, let's watch a bit of this.
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family.
This movie he's talking about is the Venus and Serena Williams, where he plays the dad. And that's who he's talking about right now.
In this,
you can see him choosing his words very carefully.
Yeah.
In this
like, don't say slap.
moment,
Don't say slap.
I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do and be in this world.
This is so douchey.
Making this film.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
I got to protect Ingenue Ellis.
He got to protect these people.
The strongest, most delicate people I've ever met. I got to protect Sanaya and Demi.
I got to protect these people. I went around slapping the shit out of anybody who, made fun of their hair, anything. Like, he's spinning this into, I was called to do that. That's just what I just did, that flagrant display of aggression on stage. That's just part of my calling as a godly man. I was called to protect these people.
Dude, like,
he's the victim
what I'm
here.
saying, hearing the way like these actors and actresses like accept their speeches, like truly they are speaking like they are like deities, like they're like half gods, like from like the Greek times.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm like a demigod, and like I'm just here to help out, and you guys should be really thankful that I'm here. Every fucking Oscar speech should be like, this is a cool role.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. I got to pretend to be a really cool human for a minute. I'm not one. I just got to play one on TV. Yeah.
Like, this is cool. I didn't write any of this.
All this gratitude, but he's not grateful to the Academy for not escorting him out, and he's not apologetic to Chris Rock for just slapping his face.
Yeah, you didn't apologize till like a day later.
His calling. Yeah.
That's right.
Interesting.
And Serena.
He got to protect Venus and Serena, who could probably beat the shit out of him.
I'm being called on in my life to love people.
He's thinking back to that moment in I Am Legend where he held the dog as it died, like the saddest moment. He's thinking back to like that.
So sad.
That what's that show that you just referenced earlier? The sad scene, whatever. Fresh Prince. That.
Protect people.
Got to get the waterworks.
And to be a river to my people.
He's here to protect people.
Like, he just slapped me.
Right.
I know
that just happened.
To do what we do, you got to be able to take abuse. You got to be able to have people talk crazy about you.
You just slapped it.
In this business, you got to be able to
committed
have
a felony
people
on live television.
Disrespecting you. And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay.
Or you can just slap the shit out of him. Your call.
But Richard Williams, and what I loved, thank you, D. Denzel said to me a few minutes ago, he said, at your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you.
I mean,
this is bone-chillingly douchebaggy. This is douche shit. I want to throw up.
Right. He's not even addressing the thing that just happened, like the giant, massive elephant in the room. He's not really addressing it. He's kind of just explaining and trying to make an excuse for it in this entire thing. And I love Denzel Washington, and I want to believe he's all the lovely characters that he plays.
Being Will Smith this whole time.
Denzel's like, please get the camera off me. Yes, I said that, but it's a line from a new movie that I'm in. That's when the devil gets you. Yes, the devil gets you, and the devil at this moment is you psycho bitch. Like, you just slapped a dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, he has this huge struggle, this hurdle to overcome. Is the oppression that you feel, is it your inner demons or is it your wife? It's got to be one of the two, but seems like you got it pretty well made outside of those.
It's like, I want to be a vessel for love. I want to say thank you to Venus and Serena. I just spit. I hope they didn't see that on TV.
Apparently they edited it out.
I want to say thank you to Venus and Serena and the entire Williams family for entrusting me with your story.
That's not me.
That's what I want to do. I want to be an ambassador of that kind of love and care and concern.
I can't believe her husband is a dorky white dude from Reddit. It's crazy.
I
This
want to
fucking elite
apologize to the
athlete is like, I'm
Academy.
gonna fucking breed with
apologize
this
to all
nerd.
my
It's crazy.
fellow nominees.
Come on,
this
man.
is a beautiful moment, and I'm not crying for winning an award. It's not about winning.
I'm
an award
crying
for
because I'm
me.
afraid you're
It's
going to
about
take it away.
being able to shine light on all of the people, Tim and Trevor and Zach and Sanaya and Demi.
Oh, yeah, name
and
names. That's a good way to
Ingenue
get
and
the applause
entire
going.
Cast and crew
Yeah,
of
those
King
are
Richard
people.
and Venus and Serena, the entire Williams family.
Oh, yeah, I love people. All of his people seem really confused. Like all the people they keep cutting to are just like,
Art
this
imitates
is
life. I look
uncomfortable.
like the crazy father, just like they said.
I wonder
look
how
crazy.
Venus and Serena Williams feel about him comparing his outburst to their father. He's like, oh, now I'm going to be seen as the crazy father because of the role that he played.
Was their dad like a psycho like that?
I don't know. Nobody watched the movie to find out.
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, it seems a little in bad taste, but what? The end of this is I do want to get to that.
Father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But
He's mostly
love
saying the
will
same
make you
thing
do
over and over
crazy
again.
things.
Love will make you do crazy things. She's so proud of her.
What a fuck.
To my mother. A lot of this moment is
boy.
really complicated for me, but to my mother, she didn't want to come out. She had her knitting friend. She has a knitting crew that she's in Philly watching.
It's all right. I bet she saw it.
Watch it with. Being able to love and care for my mother and my family,
that chick on
my
stage
wife.
with them?
I don't know.
I'm taking up too much time.
Yeah. Notice how they're not playing the music either.
Thank you
It's for everybody's safety.
for this honor. Thank you for this moment. And thank you on behalf of Richard and Oracene, the entire
Music
Williams
starts to play.
family.
He's like, I'm done when I'm
thank
done.
you,
Like, all right.
Right.
Hooking.
He's Scott Hortoning right here. That's what he's. And nobody has the stones to play him off.
Academy invites me back.
That's the best part right there. I hope the Academy invites me back. That's what this speech was. This speech was, I'm the victim. Here's my half-assed explanation for this. Some hippy-dippy like love and woo-woo and yay and also please don't take my award from me. Please help me come back because I just assaulted a man and then went back down and sat in my seat and nobody said a word.
Dude, you know what's so fucking funny about that? Like this whole thing is, remember remember the Moonlight debacle a few years ago, where like Moonlight won, but like they said the other award won, and then they had to be like, oh no, Moonlight won, sorry,
Yeah.
And they like given to. They fired that guy who fucked up like 2 seconds, not even.
Right.
He was fired before the Oscars were over.
Yeah.
And this guy just out here just being like fucking bam, like the Batman meme, and they're like best Oscar.
Yeah. And
Like,
they're
it's wild.
the strength of the Academy came out in full force to condemn this, obviously. They said the Academy does not condone violence in any form. Tonight we are delighted to celebrate our 94th Academy Awards winners who deserve this moment of recognition for their peers and movie lovers around the world. Nice, guys.
Satire. How is this real? We're in a simulation.
A thing that just happened, we don't like it. But good job, everyone. I call it a win all around.
It's not even 2 separate tweets. It's the same tweet.
Right? Yeah, and they came out to explain because everybody was asking, like, why wasn't this guy? We'll give Adam a minute.
Oh, it's so fucking funny.
Yes, it's not the Onion, guys. This is the Academy. Blue check.
Fuck.
And then they tried to explain. They tried to explain why they didn't go and take care of it. Like, he sat back down in the front row, and if you see like the behind the scenes stuff, how this is set up, this is like he's right there in front of the stage for the entire thing, and they just let him just sit there and carry it out. But their explanation why they didn't take care of it was from our favorite Brian Stilter. There were immediate discussions, end quote, about removing Will Smith from the Oscars after the smack, but the Academy decision makers were seated in various spots in the Dolby Theater and couldn't mobilize to make a decision before he won Best Oscar, a source
Yeah,
tells.
like fucking texting each other. Like,
Dude, do we do something? Nah, you're like over there, and
dude,
I'm over here.
I'm in row 2, seat A, and
Right.
he's in like row 15, seat 2. So like, I don't know like how we're gonna fucking figure this out.
I mean, we were hired to be security. We do. I'm sure they have security at the Oscars. I'd be willing to bet. But they're just like texting each other, like, bro, I don't know if we can do anything here because he's all the way over there. I'm sitting here eating popcorn. I don't know. Or maybe because he's worth $1 billion.
Am I the only one who finds this hilarious? This is so fucking. Even this tweet is hilarious too, because like I just said, they could have been like, I don't know, text,
right?
Make a phone call,
maybe just yell, "Hey, Steve, did you see what just happened on stage? Your job is to make sure that doesn't happen on stage. Could you please get up and do something about this?" Nah, we're just gonna let him sit there because he got his award like 15 minutes later, and it took them more than 15 minutes to come to a conclusion on how to deal with an assailant.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like that happened and then like immediately they brought up Best Oscar. I'm
Right.
sure there was time in between. So like,
yep.
Fuck, dude, that's so fucking funny.
Yeah, it's pretty telling too. How much power these people
Dude,
have.
that tweet, I want to frame that tweet in my house from the Oscars. It's so fucking fun. It's funny because like, think about whoever had to type that out. They had to write like, "We don't condone violence in any of its form."
Why didn't we do anything? It's
And then
Will
they
Smith,
go,
dude. It's Will
they
Smith.
had to hit enter on the keyboard and then just go, "We're delighted."
The higher ups were like, make sure that the audience knows that we don't condone violence, but also make sure that they want to tune in and watch the. Go ahead.
Don't send out more than one tweet though. Like
Right.
let's not muddy people's fucking Twitter feeds over it. Just one tweet.
We don't want to. We don't want to like ruin the night or anything. We don't want to bring attention to this or nothing. And that's another thing. Like that's another reason why I don't think this was staged, because they would have had like a press team with explanations and all this stuff ready to go if they had like this staged setup that they were going to pull off. Also, Will Smith, when he goes back down to sit and he yells the "keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth," like that's where the shift happens, because people are like, "Oh, haha, he slapped Chris Rock," and he's like, "Whoa,
real.
crazy!"
Yeah.
And then, Will Smith screams that, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is happening." All right, and then he screams it again. So, I think Will Smith's response and Chris Rock's response, they both seem like they're not entirely sure what to do with themselves at that point. So that makes me think that it's not fake, but who knows? There's some more stuff here on this very important topic. Will Smith released a statement after last night's incident at the Oscars. Quote, "Violence in all its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable." Yes. Thank you.
Also, check out my new movie.
Right.
Yeah. Also, check out the movie that's won an Oscar for. It's pretty sweet.
Right.
But like it's all, again, like, even that though, like he's like it's unexcusable and unacceptable in all its forms. And it's like, are you gonna give your Oscar back?
Right.
No. Are you gonna get anything happen to you? No.
Last
Okay.
night at the Oscars, where I won Best Actor, I
Right.
did some bad things.
Right. Now, from politipost.com, it's legit. Jada Pinkett Smith shouldn't have to take a joke. Neither should you. Adam, how do you feel about this?
Lose my shit.
Who makes a living off of this?
So, like, okay, I'm not. Listen, obviously, a lot of comics say a lot of crazy shit out there, right? They say fucked up shit, and like, I'm not saying like what we say is for everybody. I get that. Like, I'm not saying you have to think we're funny or like what we're saying. Totally understand. But there's two acceptable responses like to that if a situation. One, you quietly sit there and shut the fuck up, or you quietly stand up and leave the show.
Right.
You don't disrupt it for everybody else who's enjoying themselves.
As the biggest,
usually,
as the most powerful couple there, if they got up and walked out, that would have done way more for their image and for the whole thing's image. But
yeah. But even in like a comedy club in fucking Bumblefuck, Indiana, like it doesn't matter what any level comedy thing, any level doesn't matter. Like if you don't like it, you just quietly stand up and you leave. If that's it, you like no one says you have to stand there. But like because usually this is the scenario. Usually, everyone else is laughing, and that one person's pissed.
Right.
Then they stand up and ruin the show for literally 99% of the people because they have an ego. It's like just quietly leave. That's fine. No one will stop you. Like you could totally do that, and you're right to do that. Also, like I was saying before a little bit earlier, but like everybody has something that hits close to home. Everybody need to be like cancer, suicide, car accident, fucking plane crash. Oh, my dad died in a plane, war, whatever the fuck it is. Everyone has something that hits close to home. And everyone's a hypocrite because they'll laugh at the suicide jokes, they'll laugh at the cancer jokes, they'll laugh at the fucking death jokes. But then as soon as like a rape joke happens, they're like, well, I was raped. It's like, that's not funny. It's like, oh,
right.
Well, you get no problem laughing at the other fucked up
Sorry,
shit
but I
because
didn't rape you, so I can make jokes about it.
Right. And it's like rape's not funny. It's like, you're right. Rape isn't funny.
Right.
But you can make funny things about rape. It's like,
Right.
I've seen it. I don't have those jokes, but I've seen them be made, and they're funny.
I don't make
Like,
jokes
you know what
about
I'm saying?
rape. I just go out and do it.
Right. I'm just
I just live out my passion.
Well, that's not true. I kind of do have one rape joke, but like it's not really even. It's like it's a priest joke, really. But it's like
It's not there yet.
Even better. So it's a pedophile rape joke.
Yeah. But it's like still. It's like
Tell us a joke, Adam.
No. But it's like that thing of like, hey man, everybody has a thing, so you got to either accept that and just move on, or like I say, shut the fuck up. But like you can't just yell out.
Yeah.
Or slap somebody,
Right.
obviously.
Mostly that, yeah. Yeah, and I've heard some comedians talking about, like, you know, Jimmy Dore was talking about this. Like, this makes, like, he talks about how he wants to be this beacon of love, and he wants to make a safer world and protect all these people. And it's like, you literally just made comedians have to wonder if other people are going to follow suit in this. Like, will this set a trend? People being like, haha, I can get up, like, new precedent now. I can get up and smack the shit out of a guy if I don't like his joke. You've made the field less safe.
Dude, maybe. I don't know, man.
Might be a
Like,
stretch.
listen, if you're a comic and you're like, I'm afraid now, shut the fuck up. Like, honestly,
Right.
shut the fuck up. Like, you're fine. No one's gonna be
Yeah,
like,
Will Smith's
"That
not at your
pony
show."
joke." Yeah. Unless Will Smith's there, then don't say anything. But like, no, like that's the other thing too is like all these comics. Dude, all over Twitter, like, all these comics, famous and mid-level to open mic comics. Everyone's been saying like, not everybody, but a lot of them like, I just don't feel safe. It's like, no one cares about your fucking horse joke, dickhead. Like, you're not edgy, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not fucking shattering fucking this new world of edge. It's like where you're like, someone's gonna hit you. It's like, shut up. You're fine. Go tell your dumb hack beer joke.
Right.
Like, it's you're fine.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about this is, like, had Will Smith not done that, nobody would have remembered this joke. It wasn't a memorable joke. It was a throwaway aside. Haha, you're bald, period. Like, complete throwaway. This would not have been trending, but instead we had Will Smith, Jada Smith, Chris Rock, Cuck, and all these embarrassment. Everything was trending the next day. So good job. I also wanted to bring this up real quick. This is Jada Pinkett Smith, like a year ago, talking about her new development of very consistent alopecia.
Today, I don't give two craps what people feel about this bald head of mine, because guess what?
No one else cares either.
Right. She doesn't care. She doesn't care what anybody else thinks. Except for, like, I bet she didn't expect this clip to come back and bite her. Like, of all things. I don't care at all. And then she's like, Will, execute Order 66. And she had that look. She had that look on her face. But
yeah, but that I mean, like, I know, like, obviously we just parodied the slap with you slapping me, when you did the great video, but it's like that really is the equivalent if I did that joke and you really wanted to slap me. Like, it'd be like, that was like, it's like psychotic. Because that's the level of joke, by the way, that kind of was. It was like, I made a look like joke.
And much higher stakes too, might I add. Much higher stakes.
Yes, much higher stakes. Yeah, it's like, it's the same level of psychosis, but just on a much higher scale that they did it on. It's like, it's crazy.
Now, I did have clips of James Corden and Jim Carrey, two major flaming pussies, usually. But they both came out and condemned Will Smith on this, and they took the right route. And I haven't watched it, but I guess James Corden even did a parody of We Don't Talk About Jada on his show last night or something, which I think is pretty funny.
Can I answer a question in the chat that was asked to me?
Sure, go ahead.
It says,
What's the
Adam,
question?
what would you do? It's a super chat in call caps. It
Yeah.
says, Adam, what would you do if someone walked up and smacked you at your next show? Okay, like,
shoot him in the face.
I 100% shoot him in the face.
I'm a cop. I'd arrest their ass.
Nope, not a cop. I defended Chris Rock on this too. I was like, it's a little different because, like, what happened to him, he's at the Oscars on this grand scale where he's thinking like Will Smith might just be coming up and doing a bit with me that is like unscheduled.
Of course, he would expect that. That would be the expectation.
Right. But like me, if someone's walking up, I'm like, oh, this guy's coming up here to fight me. Like there's no,
I don't have friends like Chris Rock does.
unless the guy's coming up on stage being like, hey, like you could tell by energy, right? Like if someone's like walking up like very like serious like that, I'm like, this guy's coming to fight. And I have a fight background, so I'm like, I'm just gonna hit this guy. Like I'm not gonna let him get to the stage. Like I'm just gonna fight. As soon as he gets on the stage, he's getting fucking rocked. Like that's it. But I also don't. I mean, you guys know my comedy. I don't really talk about shit that's really gonna piss anybody off like that. I don't think it's mostly making fun of myself and stuff. So it's like
I felt it.
No, they would get it.
I felt that burning down deep inside when you were doing your thing up there. So you're safe for now, but next time, bud. Next time. Anyway, yeah. Do you guys have any back on kind of the conspiracy part of this? We'll wrap this this stupid conversation up with this. Does this like raise any red flags for you that Chris Rock's not only going on tour that's sold out now, but it's called Ego Death World Tour?
That man, they are just rubbing it in our faces, aren't they?
Like, guys, Chris, come on.
I'm giving you,
man.
I'm leaning towards conspiracy at this point, I think, maybe.
That's all it took.
I want to change my answer.
I think that is, like, to me, that is the biggest red flag in all this. Like, I can explain away, like, logically why he would have his hands behind his back. He's just like, haha, whatever, this is my friend. He's leaning forward. That seems kind of suspect, but he's, like, laughing. He's bending over laughing, and the last thing he suspects is Will Smith, of all people, to slap him in the face.
Right.
People are saying
he's got
for
everybody then, right? Everybody has a win, including Pfizer. Jada, Will, Chris, Pfizer,
Dude, Chris
everybody wins in this.
20 minutes of a new material out of this.
Right, yeah, it's true. He's getting a lot. And it's kind of like the Kim Kardashian and Kanye thing where Pete Davidson has like a new movie coming out, Kim has a new show coming out, and Kanye's new album just dropped. And it's like, like it kind of, I think that Kanye's kind of been a bit of a dirtbag, and they all are. They're kind of the scummiest of the scum, but it's like, I'm not saying it's all a setup, but it seems like they're really capitalizing on it at the very least. They're getting a lot out of it, and of course, everybody wants to see the new Kardashian show.
Kind of like a new Cold War between the U.S. and China would be great for both governments. You know, everybody wins. Yeah.
And a fake moon landing would be great.
Yeah,
go a long way from around.
How Pete Davidson is not funny and not the best comic from Staten Island, and Adam Nutter is the best comic from Staten Island. Can you talk about that?
I mean, I would say that. I feel like Chris Rock right now. Yeah, Pete Davidson is not funny. I think Pete Davidson had a couple funny bits in his early years on SNL, but then his ego kind of got away with him, and now he's just like a dude who seems stoned and rolled in out of bed every week to read off the teleprompter.
Did you guys watch his actual like special on Netflix?
Yeah, it was trash. And I didn't hate him at the time.
Terrible.
Yeah, I had high hopes for him. I was like, yeah, this might be cool. Yeah, maybe this is his wheelhouse. I was like, this is not his wheelhouse.
Dude, he was bombing at his own special in front of his own audience. Like there was like noticeable like not pockets of non-laughter.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was crazy for a special to hear that. Like,
just fake it, bud.
Like Jesus
Use the
Christ.
can.
Like, it was
the fact that
wild.
he's like the fact that he's like the marquee guy at Saturday Night Live is so fucking sad. I don't even.
Yeah.
You know, it's just terrible. You know, I'm not saying he couldn't have a spot there, whatever. People think he's cool, but like, if that's the number one guy there, who is definitely phoning it in, definitely showing up fucked up and not terribly funny. You know what I mean?
He's there playing, he's doing a parody of Pete Davidson, and he does it poorly. Like, that's his character. It's just, this is me, I'm a piece of shit. And his next character's like, hey, it's Pete Davidson saying he's Elon Musk. That's my character. Like,
now I'm Joe Rogan. It's like, all right, Pete, it's the same fucking character. They could have had Shane Gillis, but nope.
Yep. See, guys, I'm Joe Rogan. You know, because my hair's a different color. That's all it takes. Let's talk about some libertarian shit. Let's get away from the Illuminati and all their circle jerks up there in their high towers. Before we talk about Delaware, I am curious if you guys heard about the latest LP conspiracy that Justin O'Donnell was talking about this morning, of this, putting out registered libertarians, I guess, doxing their addresses and stuff like that. Did you guys hear about this thing?
Yeah.
I know about this.
Do you guys like? I legit know nothing other than this thread on it, so I'm curious if you guys have any inside info. If not, we can totally move on to LPDE.
Well, this involves Will McVeigh. Do you know that, right?
No, I did not.
This PAC, Libertarian Defense Fund, is based out
Perfect.
of Dover,
This is a
Delaware.
better segue than I thought.
This is fucking.
also-
This is
it's
the
also-
brainchild of the Cathedral Caucus guys.
Yeah.
Kevin Goggin from Pennsylvania.
Kevin Gahagan.
Will
Yeah.
McVeigh. Yep. This is their baby that they got the head fucking rat fuck Nick Sarwark to lead up. Because that's what he does
Nah,
with
he's a rat.
wedge strategies, right? That's his thing. Yeah, he's like a libertarian strategist. So I guess they're all. Look, the irony of all this is that they should have done this years ago. Like they should have started a PAC.
Mhm.
They should have,
Oh, they
gone
tried.
at-
They still owe me about $1,000 for video work that I did for them. By the way, guys, you know who you are.
You'll never get that.
I might call out
Wait a minute.
names eventually,
You really
but
should.
I'm a nice guy.
No, you should. Fuck them. Why wouldn't you? They owe you money for service.
Well, I haven't tried that hard to get his attention. It's possible he changed numbers, so it's been like a year. But I'm also like a procrastinator, so I'm gonna try and reach out to him by email or messenger or something before I dog him in public or anything.
All right.
He's been nothing but cool to me, other than stopping paying. So, and I'm not talking about Sarwark. It's somebody else that he
I didn't
was
think it was Sarwark.
in cahoots with. But yeah, they had a PAC going for the Jorgensen campaign, and I guess it just disappeared immediately after, and they had me make 2 videos, and I don't know if they did anything else other than fundraising. So, yeah.
Pay to man.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they just. But I don't know how they got everybody's address. That's the fucking sketchy part.
Yeah. In this, Justin's talking about how they had the address, not even his NH voter address. If somebody can explain this better than me, by all means, because I didn't do much digging. It just popped up in my feed before we hopped on. I was like, this might be relevant. But Dave, do you know anything else? Or Adam?
No, I don't really like. I just know that they somehow got everybody's addresses who necessarily doesn't really share their address, which is weird. But I'm sure Dave probably knows more than I do.
So did this go out like in an official email or like mail, or what was this?
I think they sent out They said they sent out 4,000 letters. I did see some printed versions of this.
Our taxes well spent again.
Yeah, I mean, well, I know they have a couple big name donors. What's the guy who's probably a Fed who goes to Ukraine and he's a doctor?
Oh yeah.
Don't know.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name though.
Yeah, he donates. He sends those checks with the commas in them.
Yeah.
I don't know a couple other guys, but yeah, the guy who's the main guy in PA, Adam. He's involved. Kevin Goggin, is that him?
Oh, Gahagan. Yeah, so he was our executive director, but he wasn't anymore. And
yeah,
he was
I think he had some access.
What?
I think he had some access to some files, or he had access to the CRM.
He definitely did. He had access to the CRM for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, these guys are I don't know what they're up to, but
So
they're
they
definitely
just put
trying
out-
to raise money to stop the Nazi influence of the
Right.
Libertarian Party.
Right, as they call it. So they put out this letter and it just had names and addresses on it, or like what do we even know like what the letter presented itself as, who it was from, like what organization
Yeah, it was
or
like you
anything?
gotta stop people from taking over the party.
Oh.
It was from the Libertarian Defense Fund,
original.
but I think it was authored by Nick Sarwark, this most recent one.
Hmm.
I think he put his face on it, like little picture of him in the corner.
Getting bold. Yeah, so just throwing that out there because that's another thing to keep our eyes on, as it will probably evolve and devolve into some shitty shit over the next couple months as we lead up to Reno. So yeah, just for the people that aren't on Twitter, don't see the stuff in the works. Yeah, pay attention to Karen Ann Harlow, because she's already jumping on this stuff and reporting on it. So go check out her stuff at Pink Flame of Liberty. Now let's talk about LP Delaware for a bit, and then we'll play my stupid speech, and then we'll go roast my stupid speech. But highlights, high points for me. Crashing at Dave's for a couple nights. I even came a day early because I'm like, Dave, we're hanging. I don't care. We're hanging. And he showed me all of Delaware in like 15 minutes, and then we just sat in his living room for like a day and a half straight, and it was grand.
Whiskey, weed, walk,
podcast,
repeat. just podcast.
A little bit of video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was awesome. And then the convention was Saturday. I had to sit out of the trial at the beginning. They did the trial of Will McVeigh, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't sit in on this if you're not a part." And I'm like, "Dude, you guys should have been capitalizing on this thing.
We
This should have been
really
the
blew it on
trial
that
of Will
one.
McVeigh, like whatever convention. You should have had like a judge in a powdered wig and also like play this shit up, film it, put it everywhere."
We could have had a mannequin tar and feather.
Yeah. So, Dave, do you want to give a little bit behind the scenes what went down at this trial of Will McVeigh?
Yeah, and it wasn't just the trial of Will McVeigh. It was Will and the gang of 5, as we refer to them as.
Right.
So that was Will and his mother.
I like Coosters.
Those were the two the Coosters. Yeah. Those were the two that got the lifetime expulsions because there was actual like property and digital assets and things involved there, and obviously he was the mastermind there. But there was 3 other people who have to take a pause on the party for a couple years, which they definitely deserve it too. So yeah, that took a little while. It was, this has been going on for months. This was like the necessary part that you have to do to be legit, so that when we go to the Department of Elections in Delaware and go, look, this is what we did as a party here. This is what the Libertarian National Committee says. And don't pay attention to this maniac over here who is,
right,
bothering everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, so that went down and was all good and well. I'd say probably my favorite 2 experiences at this convention were when I first walked in the door. Will McVeigh's dad comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, just wanted to meet you. Good job, everything you're doing." I'm like, "Nice," because it's an uncomfortable thing to be like, "I've heard that you're not a big fan of your son's work, but I'm not entirely sure." And for him to approach me right out the gate and be like, "No, you're right." And then
So I heard you hate your son.
So I heard your family is collapsing. I'm sorry to hear that. And then the second most enjoyed moment was right after my speech when Will McVeigh's dad came up to me and said, "Nice job." I'm like,
dude,
"All right,
shout
cool."
out to Jesse McVeigh, man.
Yeah,
this
awesome
guy, I mean, he is the real deal. You know what I mean? And he's been, I'm not going to go into his personal shit, but this has affected his family in many negative ways.
Yeah.
And he is a principled guy who's been in this party for a long time. So if anybody is watching out there who's like, "Oh, Mises Caucus just come in with his new blood, out with the old, in with the new." No, man, I am delighted that he's here. He's become the secretary for the state party. I think he just became also the secretary of his county.
Mhm.
Like, he wants to be involved, and he's principled and smart and cool and fun. And so the McVeigh dynasty will live on a little bit here, and it's all good because he's a good faith actor, and it's awesome that he's working with us.
Absolutely. I guess libertarianism might skip a generation. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, he was a cool dude, and everything was great there. So there was all the Robert's Rules of Order shit and all that fun stuff that I didn't pay much attention to because it doesn't really matter to me. Dave, if there's anything there that you want to weigh in on, anything of importance, it was mostly just your average meeting. Not too much drama or anything there, right?
No, it was great. I mean, it was smooth. We had a little bit of healthy debate. I don't even know if you could call it infighting, just healthy disagreement. And I think people got a mixed bag, and it was good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah. And you could tell it wasn't all Mises Caucus hardcore people
No.
either. There was a lot of people that were like, "Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with this." It seems like I don't necessarily agree with everything that's happening here, but obviously you guys are the better choice over the people that, cooed the entire party. So at least they were there and showing up for sure. That's awesome.
Right. And like your shirt says, dude, there were definitely lots of people who weren't Mises Caucus, but it makes me so happy that so many people are excited about the Revolution 2.0
right
across the country, but definitely in Delaware. So much so that was the winning theme contest that people wanted to see. And so that's about as democratic as it gets, man. So yeah, Delaware's
They
doing
did
it.
go with some hardcore Ukraine colors, and it seems like a cowboy crossing sign.
Yeah,
but hey, it is what
a
it is.
Ukrainian horse crossing sign.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ukrainian horse crossing sign.
Yeah. And then they had their candidate speeches, candidate nominations, stuff like that. It was awesome to hang out with and get to see people like Otto Dassing. Justin Zelensky has been listening to this show since episode 1, and he was there. I got to meet him for the first time ever. Super cool.
Wow, OG fan of yours.
Yeah, he's been around
cool.
for a long time. And who else was there? All the people from Amy and Bill and all these people that are heroes to me, but you guys probably don't know who they are. All the people that, built this thing back up after it got torn down in front of them. And yeah, it was just awesome to finally get to meet a bunch of people that I've known on the internet for a while and hang out. Oh, Adam. I met Adam there for the first time too. So that was okay.
Yeah.
It was all right.
That's actually my least favorite part of the night.
Yeah. That was great. And then we had candidate speeches, and then we had speeches, which was who was the lady who gave the speech right before mine? Was that
Ginny?
Susan? What?
Oh no, sorry.
Right before
I
mine.
thought you were talking about Ginny. That was before Adam.
Yeah.
Ginny. Before you was that Susan Hogarth?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I knew the
Region
name,
5 rep?
but I don't know anything about her. I've heard her name around. I didn't know what side she was on, but she was there. So she cool?
She
good?
She goes back and I think she goes from side to side. Like she was not good on the Karen Ann stuff. In
Sure.
fact, instrumental, I think, in maybe
That's probably where I've heard the
getting
name.
her- and that really sucks, man. But
Yeah.
on the Delaware stuff from the beginning, yeah, she's been pretty darn good.
Right on.
So
Yeah, she went up before me and gave a talk on like COVID and all sciencey like research stuff, and I'm like, motherfucker, I gotta go. I don't need to get too deep into this because I rant about it too much in my speech.
My
but-
bad. That was not her. That was Irene.
Okay,
She's
Irene.
from Delaware. Irene is shout out to Dr. Irene, man. She's
I don't
a
remember
medical
people
doctor
ever.
in Delaware who's fighting this mandate stuff, the jab stuff hard, and she's smart. And,
Yeah, there were two before me, weren't
This is
there?
the real Mises Caucus. This is like
Right.
middle-aged women doctors. That's what the Mises Caucus is.
Right.
So everybody get excited about some cool people coming in.
Absolutely. So we did that. I did my speech. Jumping ahead, we had these tables set up after the speeches for the dinner, which was subsequently the comedy night setting as well, because we were like an hour behind after Scott gave his 2.5 hour dissertation on the war in Ukraine, which was incredible. It was mostly like, even if you weren't listening to it, like it was incredible just based on his level of keep going, don't look to the left or to the right. I know all the information. I have it right here. I'm going to give it to you no matter how long it takes, no matter how much you guys keep putting up 5 minutes at me. This is getting out.
Yeah,
and it was impressive.
He said, this is my last thing now, and then he said that 7 times.
Right. He said something. There was one point where he's like, yeah, and then the Russia Gate bullshit. And he's like, I'm not going to get deep into that, obviously. Like, we don't have time for that because we're talking about Ukraine. And then 15 minutes later, he's like, and that's why the Russia Gate is bullshit. It's like, all right. Yep.
Like, that's where babies come from. Now. It's
Now,
like, I was like,
on the topic of Ukraine, 5,000 years ago, we got to go back a bit. Like, it was great, though. Adam, you said that they basically told you that Scott was going up when you left your house, and like 2.5 hours later, he was still going when you got there.
So Heist called me at like 5. He's like, where are you? I was like, I'm on the way right now. I'm just leaving my house. He's like, all right, cool. I think it's an hour 40 to get there. He's like, all right, cool. He's like, Scott's getting on now. He's like, he'll probably be off by the time you get here. And then he's like, I guess that we're gonna do dinner, and then I think you guys are going on. I was like, all right, cool. So pull up, get out of the car. I'm walking up like the fucking ramp, and I'm hearing like a microphone going off, and I'm like, I wonder who the fuck that is, because they said it should be dinner time, I guess. Like, and then I'm getting closer. I'm like, I sound like Scott. I was like, nah, because that was like an hour and 40 minutes ago. There's no fucking way. And then as I get right to the door, like, nah, it's for sure Scott. And then another 40 minutes after I was there.
Right.
So yeah.
I want to know if it's some kind of record.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a record for Scott. I'm sure he's got quite a few records in most information given in a 3-hour setting. No notes, no nothing, no slides, just here's what happened. So that was great. And then the comedy night happened. Well, we had our tables and all that shit where me and Adam and Dave sat at a table, and they had the Scott Horton table, which was much smaller, I noticed.
much more
It's also more
smaller and
expensive.
much more full of important people.
Right. It was full of the people that wanted
Our
to actually hear
tables,
Scott
people were
rant.
Like, our table was full of people who were like, hey, Dan, talk about flat earth, and
Right.
Adam, tell a dick joke. And I was like, okay.
I will say apologies to the people at my table. listening back to my speech, apparently I did say, I'm sure we'll talk about all this stuff at my table. And then by the time we sat down at the table, I was fucking exhausted from listening to Scott for 2.5 hours. And I was just like, I just want to eat, you guys. And Amy's like, hey, tell us about flat Earth. What?
He was lively at his table, man.
Of course he was.
It was a performance at his dinner table.
Dude does not have an off switch. Okay, jumping ahead a bit, I'll come back to, well, let me just say real quick. Amy at the table was like, Dan, tell us about flat Earth. And she's like, over here, and it's like loud in there. I'm like, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of stuff. I can't really do that from across the room. It is flat. Yeah, you can't get all that personal in there. So my apologies to people who were expecting more out of this event or whatever. But then what were we talking about? Oh, Scott, you're like, oh yeah, he kept going. He kept going after this was all over for like, what, 3 hours? Me, Dave, Dave's girl, and Scott in Dave's car, just relentless of like 3-hour dissertation on 9/11 and why it's not what all the hoaxers think, or like all the truthers think. Oh. And me and Dave were like just huddled in a corner crying. It was beautiful.
It was fucking great, dude. At one point, he was so riled up. He goes, and Condoleezza Rice, this fucking cunt, reaches over and grabs my girl and goes, I'm sorry, ma'am. Right. The Texas came out. He's raging out on the war machine.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. So I was saying it's funny because obviously Scott Horton's a very big figure in the libertarian world, and like I've hung out with Scott a few times now, and I'm considering he's been on my podcast, so I'm considering I'm getting like friendly with Scott. I wouldn't say we're friends, but like we're pretty friendly now, and I just think like it was me, Scott, fucking Jeff Douglas, and my buddy Blaze, my opener, right? And Blaze, who's not a libertarian, who he kind of knows Scott because I talk about him, but he doesn't know Scott like we know Scott.
Right.
And right before the show starts, Scott looks at me, he's like, "Do we have time to smoke a joint?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." It was always Scott,
now he knows Scott.
always time to smoke the joint.
Right.
So I'm like, let's go to my car. So we go to my car, and now it's like me, Jeff Douglas, Scott Horton, and Blaze smoking weed in my car. I just look at Blaze and I start laughing. He's like, "Why?" I go, do you understand how many people would literally kill to be in your position right now? And you don't give a shit at all.
Right. Like, who's this little skater dude?
Right now. It's like to you, it's just you're hanging out with your friend, me, and just like 2 other dudes.
Right.
Yeah.
Not realizing
really
it's
quick.
like Scott Horton.
Right.
Really quick on that. Like another instance, it was just like that just hit me. My buddy Chris, who's in the Mises Caucus here, involved in the party. He got the gig to do Dave Smith's new headshots, and he did them while we were in PA. So he was like, so Dave, he was talking to me. So tell me about this guy. I heard, he's got a podcast. He's got like 12 kids, right? And I was like, that's the wrong Smith, bro. He goes, who's this guy, Dave?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, bro, this is like the guy. You're going to take the guy's photos. So just make sure, that this is the guy. But,
don't ask him about his 12 kids because he doesn't like to talk about them.
Yeah.
Wrong libertarian podcast.
It was just so funny because I was thinking like, dude, literally thousands of people would kill to smoke weed in my car with Scott Horton right now.
Right.
And it's you who's like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Just like,
in fairness,
like
if you're
Scott.
ever in the presence of Scott Horton, it's not hard to smoke a joint with Scott Horton. Just have one, and you'll suddenly be smoking a joint with Scott Horton.
But it was just very funny to me. It's a very good high moment in my life. It was just like, how you don't care, you're here. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When he's like tearing all of our conspiracy theories, like which we can talk more deeply. Dave and I will talk more about that.
Know what you're talking about
later
man.
In the future. It was great. It's like you're trashing my entire existence, or not really,
me too,
but
bro.
like what I've always thought. I'm like, this is amazing, and he's like just relentlessly. We're not even responding. He's just going and giving a speech while we're sitting in a car, and I'm just like, I had to be at the airport in like 3 hours, and I'm just like, I'm not sure if this is like sheer straight torture or like the best moment of my life because this is amazing. Like I'm just sitting here getting reamed by Scott Horton in the backseat of Dave's car, so it was great. But
that was great.
Yeah. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to get into on the? Oh, we should probably talk a little bit about the comedy stuff. Your guy Blaze went up there and he had blazed up right shortly before and seemed like he's had better days. He had a solid start. Kind of tapered off there at the end a little bit. But.
Yeah, we talked about it on the car ride home. I was like, hey man, like you opened up crushing with some really good crowd work and stuff like that. And then I was like, and then you just forgot half your set. He's like,
right.
yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
he forgot,
I still don't remember my
his
set.
he forgot his closer,
Right.
like which is again arguably his best joke. I'm like, you forgot your closer? Like, yeah. I was like, all right, man.
Yeah.
And then the other funny part was then he introduced me before Neil.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was so
Yo,
high. He was like,
Neil-
all right, everybody.
That guy crushed it, bro.
Yeah,
That guy
Neil was
all
great.
over the
Neil's
place.
great. No, Neil, shout out Neil. He's Neil Wood, who I do my comedy podcast, Cult of Us with. That's who.
Oh, cool.
Who I own.
I might
Drop
watch
Tent
it now.
with. That's who I. Thanks.
At least they have one funny guy on there.
We'll be. God damn it. We'll be recording later tonight live, like 7:00. YouTube.com/Cult of Us.
Nice.
But yeah, no, Neil's fucking great. It's funny because Neil and I have been doing comedy the same amount of time, and like but because of like the libertarian stuff, you know, I'm asked to like do a lot of gigs. So I asked Neil to open for me, but I feel weird asking like my friend in comedy who I own a business with, who we've been both doing comedy the same amount of time, to open for me.
Sure.
Who I think is just as good as I am.
Well, you
I'm
got
like,
the
hey,
gig.
can you
So.
open for me? And, like, he doesn't care. Like, he loves
Right.
it. He loves it. But I feel like a dick. Blaze, I don't mind because he's been doing comedy for 3 or 4 years, and like he's my straight opener. So I'm like, no, you do this.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Honestly,
you go
bro,
host.
seriously, I just think you guys are strong. No matter what, it's cool. You got like a little troop. I
Right.
mean, you're going to be stronger together. So sometimes maybe he'll open, or if he gets a gig or what, I'm sure that's how it
And
works. But,
Blaze had to be the one who follows up Jenny, which was beautiful.
tough thing to do. But yo, really quick, man, I should tell you that Delaware group, man, really needed a night of
Yeah.
just like we were
Yeah.
even from the beginning, dude. Blaze on, we were like bagging up, and like that group really needed to like kind of just let loose and laugh together, man. And when you said, hey, I'm gonna bring my boys, I was thinking kind of like, oh, are they gonna know like this niche shit, or like is it even gonna be? But dude, it was fucking awesome. And yeah, thanks so much for that.
Because again, like, well, Blaze he's not libertarian, but he's pretty libertarian leaning. He just has a few differences here and there with us, but he's an independent. Neil, he's a little more left leaning for sure. But like, I mean, they hang out with me enough, and I talk about the shit enough where they know, like,
Dude, if you're a cool hang, who cares? You're there to tell
yeah,
jokes.
exactly. That's the thing too. Is like, yeah, it's like they don't give a fuck. Like they
Right.
know what we're about. And like, and again, they
Funny
always
is
say, oh, the
funny.
Mises guys,
Just don't vote.
Right.
That's all.
You just don't vote. But they were
Tell your
like,
jokes,
the
funny
Mises
man.
Guys are the Mises guys are the coolest guys and girls like in the whole thing. Like even like when they're at the PA party, like they were like, oh, we can just tell by looking at you guys who was Mises and who wasn't,
Right.
like who was cool and who wasn't. Like, they said this by looking at, like, you know, they're always fucking cool. I bring them everywhere with me, even though they're not libertarians. But like, yeah, I mean, they made plenty of fucking jokes that were libertarian oriented that were funny
Yeah.
in their shit. You know, like quips here and there. No, it was a good time. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it because like, yeah, I felt bad for you guys. I'm like, all right, I hope you guys had a good time, just laughing finally. After
Oh,
all
yeah.
this
Definitely
bullshit.
did, bro.
Yeah, it was great. And your set was great too. I should
Thanks,
mention since we just spent a while dogging on your friends. Yours was great. I even enjoyed your the best joke of the night was yours at me, in my opinion, because like you asked me, you said something afterwards like, hey, cool with that or something, like just friendly, whatever, and I was like, I was holding my camera. It's like a long range zoom lens, and I'm like trying not to like. That's why the camera, like the shot, is like all over the place because I knew some shit was coming, and it was great. It was beautiful. I appreciate it.
Well, dude, I was like, this is my chance to get Dan back in person and like
Yeah.
in front of a crowd. So I was like, what am I gonna say? And I didn't like think about it like on the drive. I thought about it once I got there. I was like, what am I gonna say to Dan? I came up with it in between. Like,
That was
the
great.
fucking hour and a
That was
half of
fucking
Scott
great,
talking.
dude.
Yeah.
Great. I love that, and I love dear Joe Jorgensen joke. I was just like, this
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
totally relatable. It's just, that was great.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I had after I posted that clip of me making the dig at you and then you clapping back without even knowing what I said about you. I had like 2 or 3 people that don't. I don't think they watch the podcast. They're not into the libertarian stuff all that much. They don't pay attention to what I do very much. But they saw that clip and they're like, "Tim Burton drew a libertarian. That's a fucking good joke." I'm like, yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah. Well, cool. You guys got anything else on this? If not, I'll self-aggrandize myself and just watch myself talk for a while.
Yeah,
I've had
I was
several. Sorry.
Really quick. I
Yeah.
was selected to be a delegate for Reno. So hit
Nice.
me up on PayPal. Fuck Twitter. Hit me up on PayPal. Dave
Hit him up
versus
to
Goliath.
bribe him for his vote. That's what you're saying?
That's right.
Nice.
We can send that delegate vote anywhere.
Free market capitalism, baby. But
That's right.
yeah, I'm playing this because I've had a bunch of people ask for it, and I'm not whatever. It's only like a half hour long or so. So we're gonna take a break. We'll chill and listen. We'll chat behind the scenes. Then we'll come back and whoever's still down to do it. I know we've gone a little bit longer here than intended. We'll come back, roast a little bit, maybe talk about some news. Even if these guys don't come back, I'll come back on and roast myself because I have plenty of critiques for myself. I promise.
I'll be on.
But yeah, I thought you might be. Adam's usually like, yeah, I gotta go, bro. It's like been 45 minutes, and he's like, I'll stay 3 hours. When's this happening? I'll be there, you son of a bitch. Yeah, so that's cool. Guys, before we kick out of this main part, and take a little break, go ahead and Adam, tell everybody where they can find you and all the shit you got going on all your shows and everything.
Yeah, man. Just check me out at Adam Nutter. Please follow me on Twitter. Twitter's the only thing I really care about. I don't really give a fuck about Facebook, Instagram, or anything else. Just follow me at Twitter at Adam Nutter. Also, please hit that fucking subscribe for my YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Nutter. Also, for the Porcupines, my political podcast, Dan's on it, Dave's been on it. I got to get them both back on soon for sure. And then my comedy one I do with Neil Wood, who they both seen now. Cult of Us, also available everywhere, youtube.com/Cult of Us. And then for stand-up, coming up April 16th at the Pop-In in Chalfont, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. It's like a half hour outside of Philly. 2 shows, 7 to 9:30. Natalie Cuomo's headlining. It's our monthly show that Neil and I run out there. Get your tickets at droptent.com/events. And then the big one, April 30th, up in New Hampshire. I'm headlining the Shell. It's going to be a fucking awesome room, awesome time. Neil will be there. Blaze will be there. Also, Jesse Pedraza from Cult of Us, our producer/comic. He's going to be there. It's going to be a fucking great time. Tickets, droptent.com/events for your tickets. Thank you. Come on out.
I wish I would have had the Oscars play you out music ready to go. And then in 6 months from now, I'm going to be playing in Delaware. And all right, cue the music. No, that's awesome, dude. Thanks for being here. And Dave, go ahead and give your spiel. Let people know if they can find you anywhere these days. If you have a podcast, if you have any social media left.
You can find me in the real world in Delaware. That's where I'll be. Imagine being magically whisked away to Delaware. It's a magical place. So, yeah, you can find me here. You should follow the Delaware Mises Caucus on Twitter. You should follow the Newcastle County Party on Twitter at LPNCC. You can follow me everywhere except Twitter. And, yeah, definitely, please give me a follow on YouTube or Odyssey or both. And, yeah, hit me up on the podcasting platforms. Dave vs. Goliath.
Right on. Thank you guys both for being here and hanging out and being awesome dudes. To all of you out there, this is different than normal, obviously. We're just going to chill and watch this thing. I'm going to cringe probably the whole fucking time because first ever adult public speaking. I've done 3-hour podcasts a week for the last couple of years, but something different, something weird and fun. Dave, thanks for bringing me out, and LPDE, thank you for bringing me out and torturing me by putting me after a smart person and before a ridiculously smart person. But in fairness, Adam came up later. But thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you on the other side of this thing. And let me find this. Here we go. All right. Without further ado, I give you me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it brings me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker. He's a friend, he's a colleague, he's an amazing podcaster. He has a show called The System Is Down, which you can find at thesystemisdown.tv. Check that out. This guy really helped the Libertarian Party of Delaware this year. When the coup took place, the independent journalists of the party seized on that moment, and Dan got to have the Coosters on the show and kind of let them elaborate their own story, and it's there forever for the world to see. And yeah, it's beautiful that he's here to share this with us today. So give it up for Dan Smotz.
Can I move this? Is that okay? I'm going to be disruptive. Libertarians, we do what we want. All right. So, all right. How's everybody doing?
Great.
How is the official Libertarian Party of Delaware doing today? So, my name is Dan Smotz. I do host The System Is Down, a podcast where we talk about conspiracies, politics, religion, all the really happy subjects that your family loves that you bring up around the Thanksgiving dinner table and stuff like that. I have a propensity for the uncomfortable stuff. I think it's funny that you guys stuck me in between well, first you're like, hey, come here and speak. And I'm like, sure. And then you're like, Scott Horton's gonna go after you. I'm like, oh, cool. That's nothing to live up to there. And then you're like, hey, we'll put this smart lady before you too that knows all of her stuff, and you can come talk about your nerdy conspiracy things. But yeah, so I talk about that type of stuff on my show. I also have a media company, Goulash Media and Goulash Films. I've done videos for like the Vermin Supreme team, Spike Cohen's campaign, Joe Jorgensen's campaign, the Mises Caucus, and Angela McArdle. Oh, some Jeremy Kaufman stuff is coming out soon too, but no spoilers. And I'm not really sure if I want to announce that I'm a part of that. But anyway, so yeah, you put me before Scott Horton and before Adam Nutter. He's gonna be here at some point, I assume, right? He's gonna come tell some dirty jokes for liberty. Adam Nutter, I don't know if this is something you guys know or not, but he used to be a cop and then he transitioned into a libertarian comedian, so he's like definitely not a Fed or anything, but for real, like he is what we need to be focusing on, like that type of shit, like liberty, community, liberty, culture. He's doing the stuff that's not the politics, and I think we need more of that in this party. But anyway, you asked me to come, and I'm not an expert on anything. I have some weird views, and I did a thing that was, to me, kind of minimal, but seems to have helped you guys out, so that's cool. We'll talk more about that later, don't worry. So, sorry, I get really distracted, so I gotta keep my notes, otherwise I'll end up talking as long as Scott Horton will. And we don't have time for that, because Scott Horton's going to do that. So my passions are conspiracies, politics, and religion. I want to like take this 30 minutes, just give you something, like some little bit of value that you can maybe, use to apply to your life, something maybe challenge you a little bit. I like conspiracies, politics, religion. I also really am passionate about like the true value of the individual, which as libertarians you would think we would care more about. And some things that we as libertarians just kind of overlook, I think, that we take for granted. First being conspiracy theories. And if you guys want, I'm sure we'll be hitting up Scott Horton after this, and like we'll be powwowing around a campfire or something, trying to convince him that 9/11 was an inside job, but we'll see how that goes. So I was billed as like conspiracy guy. First, I was billed as Scott Horton and others, and I'm honored to be the and others of Scott Horton, for one thing. But everybody thinks I'm this conspiracy guy or whatever, and libertarians seem to have this like aversion to conspiracy theory stuff because it's scary and it's edgy and it makes you sound like a crazy person. Raise your hand if you would like label yourself a conspiracy theorist. Okay, we're preaching to the choir tonight. That's cool. In good company, but some of you are still a little skeptical, I see, but it's fine. You don't have to label yourself a conspiracy theorist because the government already has. Even libertarians run the list with terrorists and white supremacists and the alt-right and everything. It doesn't really matter like what they're calling us, because if they're calling you something, you're doing something right. That means they care about you. So, conspiracy theory stuff is like a CIA term. That's like something that they came up with to make us all sound like crazy people, like Alex Jones and everything like that. But they also, have extremist and radical, and we seem to love those ones for some reason. A label is only bad until you embrace it and just say, yeah, I'm that, because they're calling me much worse things right now. So I understand that we want to be credible, we want to be taken seriously in the mainstream, and we all want to be Scott Horton and take down Bill Kristol and bring back that severed head, Bill Kristol, but we can't all do that. And we all want to be taken seriously in this party, or outside of this party, we want this party to be taken seriously, but how well is that going so far? It's going real, that's what I thought. Real quiet. You guys are real quiet. So, anything fringe currently is like deemed evil, basically, and that's how you know you're doing something right, because you're mocking the king, you're pointing out the flaws in the system, and that is the real point of the stuff that I do. My approach is basically just, when it comes to conspiracies, politics, and religion, I hold everything very loosely and just kind of approach it from the, I don't know, but I believe certain things. I think certain things, and also, I don't know exactly what is on some things, but I know it's not what they're telling me, because they seem to have this propensity for lying. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're not the most trustworthy folks up there in the government. Now, raise your hand if you trust the government. Okay.
To lie to me.
Nice. Nice. So now, as a conspiracy crazy guy, all I'm asking you to do is trust your government a little bit less. That's it. Just distrust them a little harder. That's all it takes. There are lots of conspiracy theories, lots of things that we talk about on my show. Some of them are fun, like thought experiments. They're like the classic ones, the ones that libertarians they typically think, oh, these are too crazy for discussion, like your 9/11s, your JFKs, your moon landings, your flat earths, your 5Gs, your chemtrails, your Nephilims, all these fun things, the best parts of life. You guys don't seem to like those things. However, we can talk about all of them. We don't have time for all that. But yeah, I have a table. Also, it's kind of tragic that my table is only $25 cheaper than Scott Horton's table. I don't know who's in charge of money here, but whatever. Also, if you guys were looking to be taken seriously as this new party and everything, I don't know what I'm doing up here, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the vote of confidence. You asked me to come up here and just speak. That's quite a strange concept. Just come move your mouth and rally the troops that you've never met before. Make mouth sounds that are really inspiring. But anyway, back to, like I said, I get distracted easily. So there's those conspiracies, then there's the declassified ones that we seem to never hear about unless we actually start doing the digging. Things like Operation Northwoods. The CIA conspired to carry out acts of terrorism on American civilian and military targets in Blaine, Cuba to justify a war with Cuba. MKUltra, illegal CIA human experimentation program where they drugged and tortured US and Canadian civilians in a literal attempt to perfect the art of brainwashing. These are things that exist on Wikipedia. It's perfectly acceptable. They just don't ever tell you, hey, these things are true. But they're all declassified. USS Liberty, cover-up of Israel bombing our own ships, our allies, and covered all that up. Oh, Hunter Biden's laptop. I read that book back when it was still fan fiction. And now, I find it less fun because I don't want these things to be true at all. Bill Gates is currently, literally, conspiring to block out the sun. I don't know if that, feels like, I'm not saying he is, I don't know, like an evil Superman villain, but if you were gonna, write an evil Superman villain, how about the guy who's trying to block out the sun, buying up all the farmland, making artificial breast milk a normal thing, and real good friends with Jeffrey Epstein, which brings me to my next point, Jeffrey Epstein. We live in a time where Pedophile Island is not a conspiracy anymore. It's not a theory. It just is a thing in real life. And I don't think we've really let that sink in yet. And how many people have been on trial for that? 3, 2 of them died, and one of them, we haven't ever seen pictures of her going into or out of the prison cell or anything like that, whatever. We spent 2 years with our government conspiring to convince us all that we'd be dead by now, and seems like we're doing okay. And finally, we have, on October 1st, 2021, Will McVeigh, the retarded younger brother of Timothy McVeigh, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm not from around here. Fact check me. I don't know things. Conspired to steal the entire Libertarian Party of Delaware from its rightful owners. And he lost. He lost real bad. Now that happened with the smallest amount of power possible. No offense, Bill, or Amy, any of you guys. The smallest amount of power possible, to be able to still say you have some amount of power, still led to corruption, still led to a guy conspiring to take a thing over. You think that if Will McVeigh can do this, what are the odds that the government, that I already don't trust, isn't doing much, much, much worse shit than Will McVeigh is doing? So keep that in mind. Just be open-minded, but be realistic. The more realistic thing to think is that, 9/11, that Building 7 thing, I've never seen buildings just collapse before. Whatever. We're not here to get into the deep nitty-gritty, but check out my podcast. It's got a lot of these things. But let's move on to some politics. And if you want to know about politics coming out of conspiracies, just go back and reread my conspiracies notes because it's basically the same thing at this point. All politics are like conspiracy shit. Like you watch CNN and they lie to you every day. And then you turn on Fox, the opposition, and they're lying to you too. So if you're not convinced that politics are like all conspiratorial and there's like shadowy government figures or whatever, have you, like, as soon as you see the frat boy Bohemian Grove like mock sacrifices and half of Jeffrey Epstein's list, it's like, well, what are the odds that the rest of y'all aren't in this too? So politics. Politics is everything now. I don't know if you noticed, it's in Hollywood, it's in movies, you turn on the TV, no matter what it is, no matter what the subject is, it's all politics. Now, I know I'm kind of in a room of people that seem to like politics, so some of this might not be, there you go. No libertarian politicians like politics, otherwise you shouldn't trust them. So a lot of people think that it's bad that politics are like so steeped in our culture now and they're taking over everything, but I kind of see it as a good thing because I wasn't paying attention to politics before Donald Trump. Like I was into like the conspiracies and I like heard of Ron Paul a little bit back in the day, but I didn't really know anything. I wasn't following anything. I was raised like super conservative Christian and my dad was a pastor and all that. And I was raised Republican. So I made some bad voting choices in my life, we'll say. And I just voted because that was what you do. And I didn't really pay any attention to it until Donald Trump came along. The silver lining of Donald Trump is he made a lot of people pay attention to politics that weren't paying attention before. And I was like voting Republican this whole time, and then I'm like, wow, I'm gonna pay attention because this guy's fascinating. This is a train wreck waiting to happen. And when I started paying attention, I was like, wait, I'm not a Republican. Oh. So I watched all the Republican debates, and then I was like, I'll watch all the Democrat debates too. I'm like, I sure as hell ain't that either. And then I found you guys, and it was like Gary Johnson versus John McAfee versus Austin Peterson versus, what's his name? Daryl Perry, like some crazy fuckers. That was enough for me to go, they're still talking more reasonably, more respectfully. Like they're getting mad about crazy things like toaster ovens and stuff, but still, these guys are making a lot more sense than those guys. So I think we need to really take advantage and seize the moment of this time where people are really paying attention to politics. Because when they find us, if we're doing these things right, if we're making culture and making a society around this movement, then people will go looking for the other thing. And if we're just like sitting around arguing about like minutia stuff and not getting out there making a difference in the culture, they're just gonna overlook us and assume we're as bad as the Green Party. But so, what else we got here? Yeah, a lot of people obviously have issues with Trump. I did too. But I would rather have the chaos of Trump. I would rather have people constantly scrutinizing every time Trump has a bowel movement and like tweeting about that and going crazy about, oh, this, like even if they're lying about the things that he's doing and they're just outraged about it, they're paying attention. Barack Obama was a great president because nobody was paying attention. Like I would rather, let's criticize Biden's bowel movements instead of ignoring when he drops bombs on American citizens with drones. Like some of these things are, I would rather we pay attention and see the bad things, even if it comes with all the trash. But, so, yeah, now that they're paying attention, regardless of all of our stuff, regardless of Aleppo, regardless of unconsensual fat stripteases at national conventions, regardless of Joe Jorgensen's SCOTUS pick that nobody asked for, regardless of rampant shit posters, regardless of Bill Weld in general, regardless of Will McVeigh, and regardless of that asshole, Dave Casey, we're still the best choice. And we have the most fun, and we need to be having the most fun. I think we're doing it wrong if we're not having fun. I grew up, like I said, so we're gonna get into some religious stuff, which it'll kind of tie in. I grew up like very religious and stuff, and long story short, had like a falling out of that in like my early like adult years. Had like a deconstruction phase basically, where I broke everything down to almost agnostic and atheist and all that, and then I kind of built it back up to something that I think is more real and more honest. But we won't get too deeply into it, but I came to this realization that I think like a lot of this in all of these things, it's about understanding what we don't know, about like being humble enough to go, I think something's off here. I don't know for sure. I should stop speaking in definitives when like we should have an open mind and explore different trains of thought, but we should have like discernment and understand like what is true and what's not true. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is just humbling yourself to realize when you don't know things. Because if like somebody's, you know, speaking a different religion to you or speaking about conspiracy stuff and you're like, oh, that's stupid. Yeah, but have you done the work? Do you know what they know? Have you walked, do you have all the variables that have gone through their life to make them the person that they are that came to that conclusion? I think we need to spend more time like listening to people and trying to figure out why they believe what they believe. Except for communists, they're, yeah, so I rebuilt myself back up in faith, probably still most closely to Christian, but I mostly believe that we all have things to learn. We all don't know the things that we think we know. I think that there's a designer to all of this, because this seems a little too good and too perfect for it to be just happenstance, but I believe in a designer and a creator because I believe there's a reason, like there's things that we just can't explain with science. There's like, why do we make art? Why is art a thing? It makes no logical sense that music is magic. Like you're twanging on strings and it vibrates in certain ways that makes you go, I have this emotion. Like that makes zero scientific sense, but it exists. And I believe it's because we are created and we're supposed to create in some way or another as kind of the example of that passed on. And not everybody obviously is an artist. A lot of libertarians are really bad artists, I've noticed. But I think that everybody has like a drive to like build and create something of some sort, or like build community and that type of thing. And this might be, like, I think that everybody has a purpose and has a value in like this fabric of humanity. I know it's like hippy dippy woo shit, but like I think everybody has this purpose, and a lot of us are spending our time not trying to figure out what that is. We're spending our time doing the thing, whatever it is, the 9 to 5, come home, drink a beer, kick your kids around, and then go to bed and do it again. It's kind of the same with politics too. Like we're doing a lot of treading tires because we're doing the same things over and over again. And this might be pretty unpopular at a political convention that invited me out to speak at it, but I don't think everybody's purpose is politics. I think, I think there's not a moral good to it necessarily. And there's no guaranteed value in doing it. I think passion brings more value. And there's some of us that are supposed to be doing the politics stuff. Like some people, they have that passion, they have that drive, or they have that message, or whatever. They should be doing that. And the rest of us need to be supporting them and focusing more on our passion and creating just like our own freedom in our own lives, in our own liberty. Like, I'm not like a post-libertarian or whatever. I know that's heretical. I'm not, but I do think that there's value in like trying to figure out what exactly it is that you were made for. Because if you think that you were made for, you know, running for political office, and then you spend your entire life pulling your hair out running for political office, and you never actually advance liberty in the political system, that might not have been the thing, and you might die, miserable, and then your kids don't have any more freedom and liberty when you die because of it, when you could have been, I don't know, being passionate about something and enjoying life and creating personal liberty, personal freedom for you and your kids. And again, like, nothing against y'all that are running for the politics, more power to you, but it's not for me, and everybody's a leader, but like, we don't all have to be political leaders. We should be propping up the people that are and helping them for sure. But like, I'm not up here speaking to you because I ran for office. I'm up here because I had like some stupid conspiracy podcast thing, and it just so happened that it worked out that it afforded me a lot of great opportunities. Like I've interviewed some great people like Tom McDonald and Juanita Broderick, and I lost my place in here. Lots of people that I did, totally do. Let's see, where are we at here? Lots of things, and I'll find it, whatever. It's afforded me a lot of opportunities, like interviewing great people, John McAfee, God rest his soul, and but it has also afforded me the honor, of course, of helping expose the corrupt chairman of the Mandalorian Party of Delaware, and So that's a big deal to you guys, but to me, I was just like, hey, I'll just have this dude on and see what happens. I did not expect him to show up after being so damn corrupt. I did not expect him to show up like without an argument or whatever. Like, if I hadn't responded, if I just let him talk, he would have dug his own grave. Is it like he showed up 3 feet deep with a shovel in hand, like, let's get this party started. And I'm like, okay, well, so you're telling me like what you did was bad? Yes. Oh. So you feel good about that? No. So you're gonna stop? No, I'm not. Okay. I don't know what you want, dude, but cool. And bonus, if I was doing politics, I want to be making these campaign videos for everybody else. Like, I would be making my own campaign videos and focusing on my own thing, but because I'm like seeking my passion in this different way, like we have lots of ways that are, like lots of areas that are lacking in the liberty community. And I think a lot of it is because we're focused everything on the politics of it when we should be focused on like Adam Nutter doing political comedy and stuff like that to actually boost the culture and actually make something like Call the Remnant. And yeah, so let's see. Okay, yeah, don't waste your life. Don't waste your life, kids. Don't go to college. Yeah, and again, some people are made for the nasty political stuff, and that's great. If you're gonna do it, though, you better be politicsing your ass off, because there's a lot of people in this movement, not here. You guys are all great. You guys took this all back, so that's great. But there's a lot of people in our party, in the full thing, that are clearly, they don't seem to be made for, or they're not doing the thing that they were made for. Like they're out there trying to message and they don't really have a message, or they're out there trying to run and they're not running. Or if they get into office, they're not really pushing for this stuff. They're not putting in the work. And yeah, if you're not willing to like speak boldly into an empire of lies, then what is your point in opening your mouth? Just shut up. It's fine. Maybe your thing is knitting for liberty. I don't know, but just we don't all have to be doing the same thing. I think Will McVeigh probably has a really good passion. I bet he'd make a lovely Pilates instructor. I don't know, something, whatever he's there for. I would just bet, though, that, and I don't want to speak for him, but if I had to guess, he probably doesn't feel like he's living out the thing that he's supposed to be living out right now either. I could be wrong. But, oh, and side note, in addition to politics, Twitter is also not for everybody. Just saying. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Just like politics, if you're not, accomplishing something, it's a great tool to have at your disposal to troll the king, to use to your advantage, but if you're not enjoying it, don't use it. Like, leave as quickly as possible, because it's awful, but if you use it right, it's a lot of fun. So, how much time do I got? Anybody know how long we're doing here? Keep going. All right, cool. Keep going. 7 minutes, cool. So, I might be wrong about like all this stuff. I might be wrong about the conspiracy stuff. Obviously, we're not digging too deeply into this, but if you're like at my table, I'm sure we'll talk about flat Earth or the moon landing or something fun later on. But I could very well be wrong about all these things. I might be crazy. You might not agree with what I believe. That's fine, because it does not matter what I believe or what you believe. Doesn't matter what any of us believe at all. What matters is the truth. And in everything, there's pretty much everything. And there's some exceptions, but in pretty much everything, there is one truth. Our society right now would have you believe there are all sorts of truths to everything. That chair is not just gray, it's also brown or purple if it feels like it. But there's truth, and you can feel the truth, and you can feel when things aren't true. So there's one truth, and the rest of this all is lies. And I just want to encourage you guys to just keep seeking truth. Keep seeking to expand your brain and expand, have your mind open to things, have discernment and all that, but listen to people and try to understand their point of view. Keep seeking truth, and if you're lucky enough to find it, by golly, hold on to it, because they love when you believe the lies. I don't know if you've noticed the last 2 years. That's all it is lies. And they're like, got another one, we're good. We're good, yeah. Reason just put out another why vaccines are good article. Yes, they're buying it. Sweet. So what we're living through also is not like a race war or a gender war, political war. It's a class war, like 100%, and we need to be driving this point home hardcore. This is not the leftist versus the rightist. Yes, there are some that are worse than others, but the real thing here is who is pushing those people to be that awful? This is the powers that be dividing, distracting, and depleting us of our value, stripping away our humanity, taking away our value, so that we don't know how much power we really have and what kind of possibilities we are capable of as the individual if we could actually, like, you know, unlock our brains and unlock our freedom in our personal lives. They know that we are this body that has more power than they allow us to believe. And if we knew that, if we accepted that, embraced that, and moved forward with it, they know that we would win. You are the power, as some might say. I came up with that. You're welcome, Spike Cohen. Yeah. And so we don't want to be like Alex Jones, obviously. That's a crazy stereotype to have. He's crazy. He's a pariah. He's been banned. And he's also led millions of people to start focusing on what's happening in the world. Like, I disagree with Alex Jones on a whole lot of shit. I think he's like possibly a CIA plant. I don't know. But he's also like opened up a million people's minds to libertarianism, to just not trusting their government. All conspiracies is just not trusting your government a little bit more. If this like all sounds like religious mumbo jumbo, it's because it is. Like, this is all life. Like, all this stuff is life. Like the ways, I don't know, our culture is life, the politics are life, the conspiracies are life. All of this stuff goes into our life, and it's all like there's truth in all of it that we're being blocked off from, as you're probably aware. But anything that we experience, it's all life. So just be real, be human, be humble enough to interact with people that you disagree with. And if a clown world just happens to think you're crazy, then I don't think that makes you wrong, personally. So challenge narratives, challenge yourself, be humble and open-minded, have discernment, and question everything. And lighten up, for the love of God. Lighten up, you guys. Because it's 2021. It's 2022, I lost here. Because it's 2022. I should probably write that down right, hold on. Because it's 2022, and we're all Alex Jones now. Thank you guys for very much. And long live the Libertarian Party of Delaware.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.